Welcome back to Casual Climbers, the podcast by and for beginning hikers. I'm your host, Donna Patrick, and alongside me is my husband and adventure buddy, Roy.
Hey.
Hi.
So in this podcast, we provide you with tips, tricks, and reviews of some of the many hiking trails in the Blue Ridge Mountain region. Now, we may be unfit hikers, but we do love the outdoors, and we want to share our experiences with you. In today's full episode, we are back in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and discuss a truly great trail, Deep Creek Waterfall Loop. We also have a fun fact about Sequoia, a really remarkable figure in Cherokee history, and a review a great native-owned restaurant in nearby Cherokee, North Carolina. What do you say, Donna? Ready to get started?
Let's go. So here's the Deep Creek Waterfall Loop trail by the numbers. The distance is 2.65 miles. It's a loop. The time is 1 hour and 33 minutes, and of that 1 hour and 20 minutes was moving time. The lowest point was 1,787 feet. The highest point was 2,251 feet. So that's a 464 feet elevation change. The friendliness pets are allowed, but it's not mobility friendly.
So of those 464 feet, it is entirely the first mile if you go clockwise on the loop. Because it is a straight climb.
Yeah. And honestly, as far as mobility friendly, when we were walking away out from this trail, or if you go, I guess, counterclockwise, then I think that it is mobility friendly. That first bit.
So if you go counterclockwise and just go to two of the three waterfalls that we'll talk about here in a bit, I think it is very mobility friendly.
I think mobility scooter could get you.
Absolutely. And maybe even I was going to say a wheelchair, but there's some bigger rocks and mud.
Yeah.
But a mobility scooter for sure.
Yeah. There's just that one kind of gate that's keeping cars out that you have to go around, and
there's enough room there
to
get a mobility scooter.
Yeah. So I really kind of like it when there's parts of a trail or beautiful places, amazing places, lots of benches there at that part.
On that one part. But let's start on how to get there.
Yeah.
So to get there, search for Deep Creek Trailhead in Bryson City, North Carolina in your map app, and that'll take you right to the parking area. And the parking area is large. It's about 60 spots in one larger and one smaller parking area, and it's all paved. It's quite a nice parking area, but there are no bathrooms at this parking area.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice.
No bathrooms, so make sure you stop either in Bryson City, which is like 10 minutes away, if that.
Yeah.
Or in Cherokee, which is about 20 minutes away, depending on which way you go.
Yeah.
All right, so like we said, the loop, you can go, obviously, clockwise or counterclockwise. We highly recommend going clockwise because if you do that, your legs are fresher making that climb up.
Yeah, maybe stretch first before you go.
It is a steady climb for an entire mile.
Yeah, I was actually really impressed with Now, when you showed me the layout of this trail, like the straight up, straight down. I mean, not really straight up, straight down, but you're climbing a mountain right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate.
Yep. I was like, okay, that is for sure a 2-pole hike for Donna, 100%. And I was really, really glad that I brought 2 poles. I think because I brought 2 poles, that's why my legs were on board with doing this.
We only stopped once or twice on the way up. I think the thing about it is, it's almost 500 feet elevation gain, which is significant, but it is over the course of a mile.
Which is significant.
But the grades are still almost 20 degrees in some spots. It was a significant climb up. Now, like she said, you can get to 2 of the waterfalls without doing almost any climb. It's almost flat.
Yeah. And I mean, actually, this is kind of an a la carte kind of trail, because if you want to get a tough climb in and just get to the one waterfall and then turn around, go back to you can do a loop just to the difficult part, just up to the first waterfall. And then we saw a mom with a backpack and a baby on the front, in a front, like, baby holder thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And also, what would you say, the little girl that was with her?
She had to have been 3
or 4.
4.
Yeah, with her cute little puffer pink jacket and her little lavender
She was adorable.
boots.
That poor girl was having none of this trail.
She was having a hard time with it. She
was walking 5 feet and then stopping.
Yeah,
and her mom had to cajole her to keep going.
Yeah,
poor little girl.
Mom
I felt
could
so
not
bad.
carry her because she had baby on the front and
a backpack
on the back.
Yeah.
So Mom just kind of had to stop and turn around and look at her little girl that was having big feelings about that trail.
It was very sweet.
I was surprised. It actually, okay, it was encouraging to me to see that little girl starting out on this trail, because I'm thinking, okay, if a 3 or 4-year-old little girl can do this, maybe that means I can do it. Now, you say that kids have endless amounts of energy.
They do, and they're
which is
tiny,
true.
and they don't have 50 years of walking, and
maybe because they're closer to the ground.
Yeah.
But then when I saw her struggling, that was.
Yeah, I don't think she was struggling so much on the trail. I will say this about the trail. The footing is very, very good.
Yeah.
There are not a lot of rocks and roots on this.
I felt like it was wide enough.
Yeah, especially the back half.
Yeah.
Not even back half. The back third is very, very wide. You can get 2 cars on that trail.
There's a reason that they have it blocked off to where cars can't drive on there, because cars could drive on there. Easily. But that's the second. That's
the other spot. The first part that we did is kind of a narrow trail.
Not scary narrow.
No, not scary narrow. But I mean, 2 people could go side by side, but only just barely.
Yeah, there were a few times where somebody was coming either from behind us and going to pass us, or somebody was coming from in front of us and going to pass us. And we got off to the side just out of politeness.
Yeah.
By the way, reminder, anybody going uphill, they have the right of way if they want it. If I'm going uphill, I don't want the right of way. I want to take a break.
So the very first waterfall that you get to, if you go clockwise like we did, is Juneywank Falls. That's JUNEYWHANK.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to see it from a bridge that's crossing the waterfall pool area.
It was really beautiful.
It was really nice.
Yes.
Now, Juneywank is a Cherokee term that means place where the bear passes.
Yeah, that made me just a teensy bit nervous because, okay, this was February 8th, so we're still in winter, but I understand that we'll be coming up on the time when, if bears are hibernating, when they wake up, they're really hungry, maybe a little grouchy, not morning bears, kind of. I don't want to run into a bear when they're just waking up.
No, I wouldn't either, but this is a very popular trail. When we were leaving, the parking lot was full.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. So, and this is a Saturday in February.
Yes.
And it was still full.
February 8th. Yeah. It was not, it was overcast. It was foggy. There were a lot of clouds in the sky.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool. It was
coolish.
Cool.
I think it was like 60 degrees when we got there.
Okay. And I will say this too. 60 degrees when it's very humid is different than 60 degrees when it's not humid. It feels colder.
Sure. Yeah.
It's not the heat, it's the humidity. It's not the cold, it's the humidity.
Yeah. It's nice. And the trail going up to Juneywank Falls is nice too, because it winds up the mountain. So, it doglegs back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
There's tons of stuff to look at. You're not going to get any great vistas, but just the foliage and the surrounding, ecosystem it's really nice.
Yeah.
We remarked a couple times, even before we got to the waterfall, at how nice this trail is.
Yeah. On the second half, the clouds were starting to part and I was getting some blue sky.
You're getting some blue skies come peeking through. Yeah. Now, I will say too, we're going to put the map on our Instagram page along with our photos so that you can see the map that you take. When you start out going clockwise, you're going to get to Juneywank Falls, and then just past that is kind of a intersection.
Mhm.
You can go left, and that takes you on a different trail. You can go directly right, and that'll take you to the Junie Loop, which kind of brings you a very short area back to the parking area. So
Which
it's a
is-
much shorter hike.
Yeah,
Basically just takes you to Junie and back to the parking
that's
area.
what that mom and that little girl did.
Yeah,
The mom
that's
and
what
the
they did.
baby. Yeah.
The mom was, I'm sure, done with it. The girl was definitely done.
And thankfully for them, it was downhill from there.
Yeah. Once you get to Junie, it's downhill from there.
From there.
Yeah.
But we went on.
Yeah. So we went on, and so at that intersection, if you go straight, you'll see a sign. There's a wooden sign there that says Deep Creek Trail. And so you want to take that one. It's basically straight across the intersection. And then you keep going, and it goes up a little bit more, but it's not too much more. And then it starts going down. And for as steady of an incline as it is going up, it's just as steady of an incline coming back down. It basically looks like a pyramid on the map.
Yeah.
Your elevation change. It's like, whoop, 45 degrees up, 45 degrees down.
Yeah.
So, and then that part is also nice. So that whole first 2 miles is really lovely. But that's not really what this trail is known for. The trail is really known for the 2 lower waterfalls.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah. The Junie is great, right?
Yeah.
But in my opinion, the best of the 3 waterfalls is the second one that you come to it'll be the second one you come to regardless of which way you go, is Indian Creek Falls.
Okay.
And so after you get on, and you kind of can only go to the right on foot on a Deep Creek trail, because there is a way that you can go left, and there's a sign there that says cemetery.
Right. And we had been there before we started doing this podcast. We did that. And it goes up. We didn't do it yesterday.
No, this was 18 months ago maybe.
Yeah.
That we did this. And we didn't do the Junie side. We just went the straight path, the other 2 falls, and then up to the cemetery.
Yes. Now, going up to the cemetery is your choice. It's not too far. It is up, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And
I went back and looked at our pictures for this. And it was pretty unremarkable.
Yeah.
And overly difficult for what you get. And the quote unquote cemetery is just 2 unmarked gravestones.
Yeah.
Now you can look online, and it's for people who had a homestead up there.
Mm-hmm.
That is no longer there. The homestead's not up there anymore. So I remember when you and I did this, we were like, this wasn't worth it.
After seeing waterfalls and vistas, you get neither. You don't get a waterfall, you don't get a vista.
No,
you just get some unmarked gravestones that are just like rocks coming out of the ground.
Yeah.
And it's like, that was a lot of work for.
Yeah, and from the sign that says cemetery with the arrow pointing to it, it is a scramble.
Yeah.
To get up there. And not enjoyable. I didn't think it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
So we're not going to recommend that you do that.
Right. 0 out of 10 for that part of it.
0 out of 10. So once you turn right, and you'll see the sign that says Deep Creek Trail to the right, Indian Creek Falls to the right. That's when the wide gravel path starts. And just to the right is Deep Creek itself.
Yes.
And it is so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's wide.
Yeah.
It's really wide. It's probably, God, what would you say? 40 feet wide?
I would
30
say,
to 40?
Yeah. And it just looks so inviting as far as like, I'm going to go ahead and guess that people bring tubes and maybe tube on that. And
there was a sign right there at the turnoff to Indian Creek Falls that says no tubing past this point.
Okay.
So I'm guessing people do tube on from that point down.
And I think that I'm going to have to look at my pictures, but I think that there is something when we finished the trail and I turned around and looked at all the signs, I think there was a sign that said tube at your own risk kind of thing, or get in the water at your own risk kind of thing. Cause
there are several spots where you can get into the creek. Now, let me say this. That creek is moving. It is a very, very fast moving creek.
Yeah.
With tons of rocks in there. So I I would be very reluctant to tube in that just because of how many rocks there are.
It's very wide though, so if you're
It is
skilled
wide.
and
Yeah.
I don't think I'd want to tube necessarily. I would at least want to paddle to be able to direct myself around the rocks if I was gonna. But
There are better places to tube,
Yeah.
in my opinion, than that. But either way, there are 2 bridges that you walk over that'll cross the creek, and the bridges are nice and big and wide, and tons of opportunities to get photos. And Donna will post them on the Instagram page, and it's really fantastic. And the first bridge that you cross, there is a sign off to the left that says Indian Creek Falls, 200 feet. And so that's your first chance to get to Indian Creek Falls. You can hear it right away.
yeah,
You can hear it right away as soon as you turn left. And so you go left, and maybe about 50, 60 feet, there are stairs going down to the base of the falls. And we recorded a video promo there. If you want to check our YouTube channel, there's a short video promo of us right in front of Indian Creek Falls. And this falls is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It's not overly tall, maybe 15 feet,
I don't.
but there's a ton of water going over it.
There is. I don't think that you can get in the water below the falls like you can at Hooker Falls. I don't think you can get in the water
I think you can.
whether or not
Whether
you
should is a different thing. There is no big pool there like at Hooker Falls or some of the other falls that we've been. It's very rocky.
Yeah.
It's there's no big area where you can get more than maybe knee deep.
Also, there's kind of a ledge where you can stand and get a picture with the waterfall behind you, but there's not anything that's going to keep you from like walking off that ledge.
No, not at all.
No rails or anything like that. And it's a significant drop.
Yeah, probably 5 feet, maybe
Yeah.
4 or 5 feet down. Yeah, it's really a nice waterfall.
Yeah.
Because that water is moving off that fall. There's a ton of water going down. And that's what's also feeding Deep Creek. So it's a great stop.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you stop there. It's a little off the path, like I said, about 200 feet, but absolutely well worth it. And you'll see on our map, you'll see a little spur coming off our loop. That's Indian Creek Falls. And so once you're done with Indian Creek, you head back, and then you're going back toward the parking lot on Deep Creek Trail. And maybe a quarter of a mile away, there's the third waterfall, Tom Branch Falls. Tom Branch, I think, is the tallest of the 3.
And there's so many benches that you can just sit. Now, Tom Branch Falls is the falls that you can get to if you're on a mobility scooter easily.
Tom Branch, yes. Yeah. And you could see Indian Creek on a mobility scooter, but you're not going down the stairs to get to it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. But Tom Branch Falls it's very narrow. And
the falls are narrow.
It's a cascading fall.
It's a big wide road to get to the benches that you can sit and look at this. And I think there's like 4 benches around Tom Branch Falls.
At Tom Branch itself, yeah.
Yeah.
And then on that back stretch of, the wide part of the trail, or the first part, if you go counterclockwise, there's benches probably every 50 yards.
I know. That made me so happy. I wanted to take pictures of all the benches, but that got a little redundant.
Okay.
Just know that
Here's
there's
another bench.
a lot of benches.
On that part.
Mhm.
There are none.
There are none leading up to that.
Leading up, yeah. So if you go clockwise, there are none for the first 2 miles.
Mhm.
None at all.
Yeah.
There's barely a
There was
tree to sit on.
There was a tree that I sat on.
Yeah.
It was wet. My booty was wet for a bit of the trip.
Yeah.
Because I had to tighten my shoelaces, but that's neither here nor there.
So the Tom Branch Falls is really nice to look at. There's not a ton of water coming down off of it. It's very narrow. It's a cascade fall. But it is very tall.
I thought it was lovely.
It is lovely. Absolutely lovely. I mean, what I think is interesting about Tom Branch and Indian Creek is how different they are.
Yeah.
Because Indian Creek is pretty wide, about 20 feet wide, with just a volume of water coming off of it. Tom Branch is very narrow, maybe 5 feet at the top.
But so tall.
But very tall, and the water just cascades down the rocks, right? So it takes different turns. It'll go left, and it'll go right. It'll split. It's very interesting to look at.
Waterfalls are great. Like, looking at waterfalls is a great place to meditate, I think. Just watching the water,
Oh, I agree.
choosing which
Yeah.
way it
Yeah, I
goes,
agree because you can sit there and you can let the sound of the waterfall just kind
Mhm.
of put you in the meditative state and just enjoy nature.
Mhm.
Yeah. So this is by far the most popular part of the trail. Most people that do this only do those two falls. When we were going up to Junie Wank, we only ran into three other groups,
Mm.
and we ran into a group or a person every 10 feet
Some people
on
bring
the way
in
back.
some people bring in professional cameras to take pictures.
Yeah. And I can totally see why.
Yeah.
This between the creek itself, which is absolutely beautiful, just beautiful, and then the waterfalls. There's tons of. I mean, I typically on these trails let you take most of the pictures, but I still got 15 or 20 myself yesterday, just because of how great they are.
Yeah.
So, how would you rate this?
Difficulty?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I would rate it differently if I hadn't brought 2 poles, but and it was cool. I don't know, I guess. What would you say? Break a sweat? Moderate? I don't know.
Depending on your fitness level, it's either break a sweat or feel the burn.
Okay.
If you do the loop like we did,
Yeah.
I would probably say it's more of a feel the burn just because it's a straight mile up. For a
Yeah.
mile, you are walking up. So
And walking down is no joke either.
I hate walking down more than I hate walking up.
Yeah, I am anti walking up and you're anti walking down. But you got to do it if you want to see the sights. But
You do.
yeah, because walking down can be harder on your knees.
It's harder on my knee for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I had the reconstructive surgery, 24 years ago now.
Yeah.
And going down inclines stretches my ACL. So I can
Yeah.
feel it, right?
What was that from, like, jumping out of airplanes and stuff in the Navy?
No, didn't really jump out of airplanes in the Navy.
Okay.
But it's much tougher on me going down than it is up. So if you do this and only do the wide, mostly flat portion going to Tom Branch and then Indian Creek Falls and then coming back, it's a piece of cake.
It's a piece of cake, yeah. Especially if you're not walking down to Indian Falls.
Even that is not that bad.
It's not.
No.
Those are narrow stairs, so if somebody's coming up, you have to give them space to come up. You can't, like, I would not pass somebody on those stairs.
No. And when we were going down, we had to wait at the top for these two gentlemen to come up. And then when we were coming up,
somebody else was
was
waiting.
waiting for us.
Yeah.
I mean, you could squeeze by, but why would you?
Yeah.
Just wait a minute.
It doesn't feel safe.
No.
There's no rails.
Nope.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say it's probably, depending on your level of fitness, anywhere between a break a sweat and feel the burn. Definitely not a pain bringer.
Yeah.
No, it's not that difficult. Would you recommend this?
Oh, yeah.
100 million% would recommend this.
Yeah. I definitely want to go back in the summer and dip my feet in the water.
Oh, absolutely. And when we were there the first time, it was in the summer and there were people in the water.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get in the water there. Some spots of the creek are deeper than others. Some spots are much rockier than others. So, you know, you'll find a spot if you want to there.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Don and I both recommend this. If you're anywhere near the area, just make the trip. This is a fantastic 3 waterfall hike in under 3 miles that honestly, I don't think you can miss if you're there.
Mm-hmm.
So, Donna, what's your fun fact about today?
I am so glad you asked. So today's fun fact is on Sequoia. But before I get into the fun fact,
The tree?
No, actually, the tree was named after this person that I'm going to talk about.
What?
Yes. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Before I get into the fun fact, though, I want to mention that as of 2022, over 70 million adults in the United States reported having a disability. This represents more than 1 in 4 adults in the country. Did you know that?
I did not know that. No.
That's a lot. So I want to talk today about a person, people with disabilities breaking barriers. And I think of people like Helen Keller, and there's a lot of people with disabilities that break barriers.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But this isn't about people with disabilities being included in society, but people with disabilities driving and transforming society, because they do.
Because they do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So today's fun fact comes from an essay from pbs.org, how Sequoia, who did not read or write, created a written language for the Cherokee Nation from scratch. And the article was written in November of 2020. Sequoia was born around 1770. We don't know exactly, but
They didn't digitize their records back in 1770?
No, sadly.
We got to get with them on that. So this was 6 years before the independence started.
There was a lot going on in the country back then. In the 1800s, Sequoia recognized the value of the European settlers' talking leaves, which are basically what the Native Americans were calling the written word on paper.
He called them talking leaves?
Not just him. It was
all the Cherokees.
Yeah, the talking.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Talking. So he was seeing that, and he was like, "What's this?"
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and
so before this point, that concept of writing was foreign to them.
Right. The Cherokee only had
a spoken language.
Spoken verbal language. They passed down stories from generation to generation.
Okay. All right.
So after he saw these talking leaves, and he set out to create a written language for the Cherokee. So an alphabet uses individual symbols for consonants and vowels.
Yep.
Sequoia's writing system was directly connected to spoken Cherokee. Notice at the beginning of this fun fact, I said that Sequoia created a written language, not an alphabet. Its 86 symbols represented consonant and vowel combinations. They represented syllables.
Okay.
This is why the written Cherokee is correctly called a syllabary, not an alphabet. I think I'm saying that right.
That's
syllabary.
Right. Yeah.
So his syllabary transformed not only the Cherokee Nation, but had far-reaching impacts beyond North America. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that. But, honestly, that kind of language makes more sense.
Yeah.
Than
sounds and syllables.
Alphabet.
Yeah. So Sequoia was born in a small town just a few miles from Echota, the old capital of the Cherokee Nation in what is today eastern Tennessee.
Okay. Which is right there. I mean,
yeah. We were
from Cherokee, North Carolina to Tennessee is like 5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. It's very close.
Yeah, super close. So his mother was of the Red Paint clan. His father...
We're going to have to cover the clans in some episode. The Cherokee clan structure is so fascinating.
It is. And you can learn a lot about them in Oconaluftee Indian Village.
Right there in Cherokee, which we're going to have to also review.
Right. Yeah. I think it's only open in the summer.
I think that... No, because we've gone in fall before.
Oh, okay.
But when we cover it, we'll make sure that we
maybe
give
like
the
spring
hours.
To fall, but
maybe.
No, I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll have to
cover it.
Yeah, we'll cover it. Okay. So his mother was of the Red Paint clan. His father has been described as a white man. Some sources say he was a German immigrant, and others claim that he was an officer in George Washington's army. But either way, he didn't play a role in Sequoia's upbringing.
No.
He was not there.
That's a shame.
Yeah. So, Sequoia was left to be raised by his mother alone in the traditions of the Cherokee. So, shout out to all you
the single ladies.
The single parent families, both male and female. But yeah, it's got to be a tough job. So, he would grow up to become a trader and later a successful blacksmith. And
trader, Trader.
Yeah, Trader. Yeah, he traded goods and trader, and later a successful blacksmith and silversmith. He was self-taught, creating his own forge and tools.
That's so impressive, creating his own forge and tools.
Yes,
wow.
Yes. Yeah. Raised by mom, created his own forge and tools, blacksmith.
This is an early badass, is what this is. Yeah.
And remember, he has a disability. So while almost all accounts of Sequoia mention a significant limp, there's a lot of disagreement as to the reason for his disability. That wasn't super...
Again, no records, right?
Needed a written language.
So he had a limp, but it's unclear.
He might have been born with it.
Okay.
One historical account specifically described his lame and shrunken leg. Another,
So it could have been a birth defect.
It could have been a birth defect. Another from the Cherokee Phoenix newspaper reports that he was the victim of hydroarthritic trouble of the knee joint, and this affliction caused a lameness that characterized him during life. So
Okay.
something happened to his knee. It might have been caused also, another theory is that it might have happened during a hunting accident when he was young.
Okay. Either way, he's limp.
Regardless,
right?
yeah.
Sure.
We know that
He's got a bum leg.
he has a bum leg, 100%. So the story of how Sequoia came to the idea of creating a written script for Cherokee is another mystery with several potential answers. One version was that he overheard a conversation among Cherokee youth debating how white men communicated through writing. While the young Cherokees ascribed the talking leaves to sorcery or witchcraft, Sequoia believed that it was an invention and declared that he could easily create such a system himself. I don't know about easily, but he...
So,
yeah.
so let me get this straight. There was some young Cherokee talking about the written word on paper from the white people.
Yeah, the talking leaves.
One of the theories was that this was sorcery.
Right, witchcraft, yeah, 100%.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But to be fair, if you read enough, you're going to run across some stuff that you're like, oh, only witchcraft created this.
Sure.
Because it's so bad.
Wait, what are you
looking at you, Twilight?
Don't be hating on Twilight.
So bad.
Another possibility is that when Sequoia served in the Cherokee Regiment during the War of 1812, he witnessed the power and usefulness of writing for such things as recording events and troop activities, relaying messages to units in other areas, and even simply sending letters home to friends and family. All of that is not possible without the written.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise you're just playing the phone game, right? You're telling somebody something and hoping they get it accurate.
Yeah.
In,
I mean,
in the way they're going to tell somebody else, they're going to tell somebody, but, before long, water is here becomes the tree is green.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever the reason, Sequoia determined that a system for writing was important for his people. He would spend the next 10 years of his life experimenting with ways to capture the Cherokee language. Now remember, he doesn't read or write. That's not a thing. He started using...
So the whole thing is brand new to him and his people. Completely brand new.
Yeah, let's get some talking leaves for ourselves, right?
Yeah, I mean, he clearly saw the importance of it and the usefulness of it.
Just the idea that you write something down on a piece of paper, you send it over all this land, and it goes to this one specific person. They read it and they get the thoughts.
The exact message that you're sending.
Yeah, that's pretty great. He started using pictographs with an image or graphic for each word, but realized very quickly that it was too unwieldy.
So I can see why he started with pictographs, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what they used to carve on rocks.
Yes.
And trees, they would carve pictographs.
Mm-hmm.
But that is unwieldy.
You can't go around with pictures of everything all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
When that didn't work, he moved to a phonetic system matching symbols to spoken Cherokee, breaking up each word into its basic sounds. So his desire to create this language for his people became all-consuming. In fact, several sources talk about how his wife, Sally Waters, burned his work at one point because she believed it was witchcraft. And also he wasn't helping around the house.
First of all, how do you know he wasn't helping around the house?
I mean, she felt like he wasn't pulling his weight around. It's just a possible,
is there any evidence of the fact? I mean, I'm not going to have you talk trash about my boy Sequoia.
No, I don't feel right about it because he did a really important thing. But I can also see it from her point of view. If she's raising the kids and cleaning and doing all the, working the farm and, all of it, and he's just over there creating a language for
16
talking
hours a day,
leaves.
Put the stuff on paper. Yes, but you have no evidence of that.
I mean,
I'm gonna call slander right now.
No, it's not from me. This is from the PBS.org article that
PBS is saying.
No, it's saying
that Sequoia was a deadbeat at home.
No. It said that several sources talk about how his wife Sally Waters burned his work. Several sources. It's just it's like saying, hey, this person and this person and this person suggested that this is it's a story, right?
Okay.
It's possible.
All right. But either way, regardless of why, she burned his work.
I mean, okay, so in the Chronicles of Oklahoma, Volume 11, Number 1, Captain John Stewart's sketch of the Indians, he wrote, Sequoia was laughed at by all who knew him and was earnestly besought by every member of his own family to abandon a project which was occupying and diverting so much of his time from the important and essential duties which he owed his family. So,
okay, that does kind of sound like he's neglecting his responsibilities at home.
I mean, how do you create a language and not neglect something, though, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Especially starting from scratch.
Yes.
Yeah.
By this point in time, Sequoia and many of the Cherokee had been dispossessed of their lands around Echota, and he was now living in Willstown, Alabama. So you've got this nation of people that Andrew Jackson has basically said, hey, you know that land that you've been living on forever? It's not yours anymore. You have to go somewhere else. And so they were probably heartbroken, disillusioned, grumpy, and maybe wanted to maybe they were just angry. Maybe they wanted to partly blame Sequoia, okay.
I don't know how you could blame him, though.
Well, but if you believe that it's witchcraft, that he's creating this language, then maybe you connect A to B to C that, okay, Sequoia is making this language and we're losing our land.
I guess.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what happened, but here's from Sequoia's perspective. He saw that the Cherokee were getting displaced to different places, and he realized the importance of a national language for them so that they could keep in touch, so that they could
keep their culture alive.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm sure that there was more than one perspective going on here.
As is always the case.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was in Willstown, Alabama, that Sequoia finally succeeded in designing a new writing system with 86 symbols to represent the various syllables. This was around 1821.
Okay.
When this happened.
So he was 51 years old when he finished.
You're doing math. I don't do math. Written Cherokee would be the very first written syllabic form of a Native American language. So this is an impressive feat because, again,
I mean, that adds
Sequoia
adds extra impressiveness to it.
Yeah.
Not only was it the first Cherokee language, it was the first Native American language.
Yes.
That is so impressive.
And he didn't read or write at all. So he created this from scratch. It's very impressive. So in 1821, he was ready to publicly reveal the Cherokee writing for the first time. So Sequoia invited his friends, neighbors, community leaders over to his house to explain his invention. And they didn't believe him. Some, again, accused him of witchcraft. So, with the help of his 6-year-old daughter, I love it that it was his 6-year-old daughter, Ahyoka, Ahyoka is her name. So with the help of his 6-year-old daughter, he set up a demonstration. Sequoia sent her out of the room and asked one of the men present to say a word. He wrote down the word and then called Ahyoka back into the room to read the word aloud. They were astonished. Sequoia's discovery went on to have a phenomenal impact because, his daughter.
That is so awesome. So his 6-year-old little girl was the one that sold the language to his people.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the story here.
Yeah, I know.
That's the story.
I love that. I love that story so much. All you 6-year-old little girls out there, you matter.
Yeah.
Also read.
Yeah.
The tribal leaders recognized the value of Sequoia's writing system. Within 6 months, more than 25% of the Cherokee Nation had learned how to read and write. In 6 months.
6 months.
25%.
That
is 1/4.
So impressive.
Yes. Now,
they learned to do something which 6 months ago they could swear was witchcraft.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Once the leaders got behind it, they were like, oh, okay, we're doing this. Yeah. And
that is so impressive.
But listen to this next statistic. In less than 3 years, the Cherokee were 3 times more literate in Cherokee than their white neighbors were in English.
That is insane.
I love that.
That is insane. So for all the people at the time who thought these were just dumb savages, the Cherokee are like, maybe you should learn to read.
Yeah, read and write.
Learn to read, bud.
That just shows.
That's crazy.
It shows what a determined people they are. I mean, that's just
and smart and able to get over their own hangups.
Yes.
I mean, there are people now who believe some things are still witchcraft and will never be convinced otherwise.
Yeah.
And these people are like, it was witchcraft, but no, maybe it's not. So I'm going to change my beliefs. And
yeah.
Good. That is crazy impressive.
Now, remember, pressure from the federal government had already forced many Cherokee from their homeland, splitting the Cherokee Nation between the East and West. So Sequoia had created a tool to keep its members united and informed. But it's not enough. The rising tensions between white settlers and his people in the East would culminate in the infamous Trail of Tears.
Yeah.
Sequoia moved to Oklahoma in 1829. But that's not where his story ends. Throughout his life, Sequoia remained faithful to the traditions of the Cherokee people, never adopting dressing like white people or white man's religion or other customs. He spoke Cherokee exclusively, though many scholars now suspect he did have some knowledge of English. I would think he would have to.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah. His focus was always the benefit and elevation of the Cherokee Nation, which tracks 100%.
Yeah.
In fact, he's quoted... Hang on, let me find this quote. I meant to put this in my notes. If our people think I am making a fool of myself, you may tell them that what I am doing will not make fools of them. They did not cause me to begin, and they shall not cause me to stop.
Sequoia is so impressive of a person. So there's a museum of the Cherokee people in Cherokee.
Yes.
North Carolina, that you and I have been to a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a exhibit on Sequoia.
Yeah.
That is so impressive.
You can actually hear the language.
Yeah. And so this is something else that I'd like to share with everybody about this too. If you've never been to Cherokee, North Carolina, every street sign has both English and the Cherokee language in it.
Yes.
So you can see for yourself,
I think
Sequoia's impact because you can read it yourself on the street signs, on the buildings.
I mean, I can't read it, but I mean,
no,
yeah.
Well, neither can I. But it's beautiful
there. Yeah,
too. It's such a beautifully. It looks beautiful as a language.
Yes, it does. Yeah, Sequoia's impact and influence have no parallel in history. His syllabary spread beyond the Cherokee, leading to the creation of syllabaries in many other groups, including the Cree syllabary, used by the largest group of First Nations people in Canada, Liberian syllabaries in West Africa, and another in China. His overall, Sequoia's work influenced the creation of 21 scripts and more than 65 languages.
That is so impressive.
Yeah.
That is so impressive. So, is his wife sweating him about doing the dishes now? Look at the impact worldwide this man has.
Yes. As of recent estimates, there are approximately 2,100 fluent Cherokee speakers. This number...
Probably most of them live in Cherokee.
Well, actually, there's a group in Oklahoma.
Well, the Western Oklahoma.
Yeah. This number includes speakers from all three federally recognized Cherokee tribes, the Cherokee Nation, the United Kituwa Band of Cherokee Indians, and the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians.
So the ones that live in Cherokee, North Carolina are the Eastern Band.
Yeah. Efforts are ongoing to revitalize the language, including immersion school and language programs. So, Cherokee language immersion schools are designed to preserve and revitalize the Cherokee language by teaching it to younger generations. The Cherokee Immersion School this is the one in Oklahoma. They follow the Oklahoma Department of Education's grade level standards, but all instruction is conducted in the Cherokee language. This is both written and spoken forms using the Sequoia syllabary for all print materials and serves pre-K through 8th grade.
That's so fascinating. We have never heard someone speak it. I mean, you can listen to recordings online or whatever, but we have never heard anybody speak it in person. But I think they have speakers at the museum there, and in Akunalufty, I know that there are people who can speak it there.
Yeah.
So if you're there, check it out. It's so impressive, and check out the museum. We'll be doing a number of episodes in and around Cherokee just because it's real close to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, like right there.
Yeah.
So, and we'll never run out of fun facts or things to review there.
Right.
So
I had to look up because this article kept talking about how impressive this was, that this one man created this written language and he couldn't read or write. So I had to look up how the English alphabet was created. Old English was first written down using the Latin alphabet during the 7th century. During the centuries that followed, various letters entered and fell out of use. By the 16th century, the present set of 26 letters had largely stabilized. So we're talking about hundreds of years, not 10 years, where the English alphabet was
eventually morphed into what it is now.
Multiple people having their hands in that and just.
And this guy just built it.
Yeah,
he's like, here it is.
Just
finished
made it
product.
Yeah, here's the written language. 10 years,
That's
boom,
so
done.
crazy.
Drop the mic, right?
That is so crazy. I mean, it makes sense, right? If you do it if you do a syllabary instead of an alphabet,
yeah,
it makes a lot of sense because you basically don't have to deal with all the stupid rules like the sometimes silent B.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so my son Joshua, when he was in kindergarten, he came home one day and he was distraught because he said, "Mom, listen to my name, Joshua." He said, "Mom, there's no W in my name. Joshua, why is there no W in my name?"
Did you spell his name wrong on the birth certificate?
Apparently. Then see, Sequoia would have...
He would have had the "wa" sound in there.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it would have made complete sense. It would have made perfect sense.
Yeah.
So
that is so impressive. What a great fun fact.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. No accents this time because it would probably sound really bad.
I struggled
I did
to
a racist accent.
I wanted to. Well, I felt bad that I couldn't pronounce his daughter's name correct. I tried.
I mean,
but
you could very well be right. I don't know. We'll say yeah.
Okay.
We'll say yeah.
All right.
That's a great fun fact, Donna. Thank you.
Thank you.
So for our review today, we're going to stay in Cherokee, North Carolina, and talk about a pretty good restaurant there called Native-Brews Tap Grill. Now, it's right on the main strip there in Cherokee. It's Sali Boulevard. That's Tsali. And the Native-Brews Tap Grill is located at 1897 Sali Boulevard, Cherokee, North Carolina. You can check out their website at native-brews.com. Now, they have an on-site microbrewery right there behind the main restaurant.
What's a microbrewery?
It's just where they brew small batches of beer.
Okay.
Yeah. And they offer original beers right there.
Yeah.
And they also offered cocktails. You got one.
I did.
Yesterday. Which one did you get?
It was the pina colada, but it was, oh gosh, what was it called? Hang on.
Yeah. And they have typical lunch and dinner type sandwiches and entrees, but they have two pretty famous chefs, famous in the, culinary industry, that created the menu and helped the other cooks there create it. And I got to tell you, the best bruschetta that I have ever had has been there. And we've been there twice now.
Yeah.
And each time we go, we get bruschetta, and you get these small pieces of, it's probably like a French baguette.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, about that size.
We're going to say it's a Cherokee baguette.
Yeah. and there's a mound of bruschetta stuff on top.
Yes.
That is so good.
Yeah. And
it's a meal in itself, this bruschetta appetizer.
It is. I am so embarrassed that I didn't remember the name of my drink. The name of the drink is the Cherokee Colada.
Cherokee Colada.
Yes,
yeah.
And not pina colada. But it was so good. It was so good.
It tasted like a dessert. I had a tiny little sip of it, and it tasted like a dessert. It was, the restaurant itself is not very big. There's probably 20 tables there.
But it's nice. It's nice in there. It's clean.
They have some outdoor seating, and the service is fantastic. Our hostess yesterday was so nice and so kind. And another great thing about this is it's owned by a native Cherokee person.
Yes.
Or family. And so they really embrace that heritage, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. Now, Cherokee is a popular tourist destination, so you're going to find a lot of tourist stuff. Plus, there's a casino there in Cherokee that's got a lot of restaurants like Guy Fieri's and stuff like that.
How far is the casino from this restaurant?
20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, 20 minutes. But back to Native-Brews. Best sandwich chicken sandwich I've ever had. I had yesterday.
And Roy is a foodie, and he is very picky about his food. So when he says best chicken sandwich, it really means something. If I was to say it, it's like, yeah, okay. Tomorrow
It
I
was
might.
the Hawaiian chicken sandwich. And so I'm going to order this every single time we go back there.
You can't do that. You're a foodie. You have to
is
try different
so good.
things.
So it's this grilled chicken breast with a teriyaki glaze.
Okay.
There's a grilled pineapple slice on top of it. It has hand-shaved onion straws, fried onion straws on top, and thick-cut maple brown sugar bacon with lettuce and tomato and an aioli on it on a brioche bun. I didn't write any of that down.
Yeah, no, you did.
I remembered it because it's the best food I've had in my mouth in a long time. It was so good.
I'm glad you liked it.
It was so good. Oh, man, it was so good.
I pretty much like all the food there. So when you say something's good, it really means something.
You had a bite of my sandwich.
Yes.
What did you think?
It was very good.
It was
very
so good. I normally can't finish a whole sandwich, especially as big as this one was. But I forced myself to finish this.
I mean, except for that bite that I had. Yes.
Yeah, it was so good. And so they have a ton of appetizers there. They have a ton of lunch. They have
a big
burgers.
pretzel that we try to avoid bread, but
as much as we can.
But that big pretzel that they served at the table next to us looked pretty delicious.
Yeah, it's this giant pretzel, and I guess there's cheese dip that it goes with it. So we're gonna maybe we'll have to try it one time.
Take a lot of pills.
Yeah, take a lot of gluten.
I have gluten issues, but
now the prices, it's not too expensive.
It's kind of medium,
but it's on the higher end of medium. Yeah. Like my sandwich. So I got the chicken sandwich and chips, and it was $17. Yeah. So it's not McDonald's level.
Although McDonald's is getting more expensive.
It is, yeah. But you're also not getting that chicken sandwich at McDonald's.
That's for sure.
Dang sure.
Yeah.
So prices are similar to Chili's and Applebee. You know, yeah. I think it's about the same price.
And quality is really, really good.
Yeah, I agree. So between, if you're a beer person, they got some tremendously good micro brews there. If you like cocktails, they've got those too.
Yep.
Plus the regular sodas and teas and stuff like that. But if you're a foodie, the menu itself is fantastic. I mean, as much as I like the chicken, you know what I think I'm going to do next time?
What?
I'm going to order something else to have for lunch, and then I'm going to have one of those chicken sandwiches to take home with me. Because it's so good. So yeah, check it out. Native-Brews.com. 1897 Solly Boulevard in Cherokee, North Carolina. Donna, would you recommend it?
I definitely would recommend
Absolutely recommend it. It's a great spot. Be sure to say that you heard about it from Casual Climbers podcast. We won't get anything from it, but if enough people do, maybe they'll give us a free sandwich or something. I don't know. But yeah, check it out. Native-Brews Tap and Grill in Cherokee, North Carolina. So that's our episode this week, guys. Deep Creek Loop Trail in Great Smoky Mountains National Park, right outside Bryson City and Cherokee, really. It's not that far. It's a tremendously enjoyable 3 waterfall hikes in under 3 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just want to get to the 2, it's a piece of cake, half a mile hike to get to 2 great waterfalls. But I highly recommend doing the full loop.
Yeah. Donna
had a great fun fact about somebody that I had known about, but am even more impressed now that I heard Donna's fun fact about Sequoia and his invention of the first ever Native American syllabary right there in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And we also talked about Native-Brews Tap and Grill, great restaurant with the best chicken sandwich I've ever put in my mouth, right there in nearby Cherokee, North Carolina.
Yep. Thanks so much for listening. Please like us and subscribe to us in whatever podcast app you use, and be sure to leave us a review because that's how our show grows. Feel free to check out our trail photos at casualclimbers.com or on Instagram at Casual Climbers Podcast. If you have a question, comment, or just want to drop us a line, you can reach us at casualclimberspodcast@gmail.com.
So Donna, we're recording this at 9 a.m.
Mm.
It's only a 2-hour drive there. And they open at noon.
I think they open at 11:30 a.m., yeah.
Their website says noon.
Okay.
Yeah, the website says noon. I kind of want a chicken sandwich now.
Oh, no.
I want a chicken sandwich. You up for a drive?
I guess so. Sure. Why not?
All right. Chicken sandwich, here I come. We'll see you out on the trails.
See you on the trail.